Catholic tradition holds that the Church was founded by Jesus Christ. The New Testament records Jesus' activities and teachings, his appointment of the 12 apostles, and his institutions to then continue his works.
In the beginning, Jesus intended to found the church. But according to Richard P. McBride, there could be two answers. No. By found means direct, explicit, deliberated act by Jesus established a new organization. Stated on Matthew 16 verse 18. Yet, it's a yes. If by found means by found lay foundation for the church in various indirect ways.
The church starts after the Pentecost. The Pentecost is the 50 days of resurrection of Jesus. The Pentecost was a recorded event because the Holy Spirit intended to talk to the apostles, and after, the apostles speak by their tongues, and the sign of the church have already started.
Today, in the connection of our lesson in Christian living, we will going to discuss about the modern persecutions of the church, particularly the prophetic leadership, paganism, relationship of ISIS to the Christians, and the divorcement. So, let's get started.
Prophetic leadership. Prophetic leadership is about the said prophecy that these peoples are assigned and chosen by God, written in a prophecy. That's why they simply become the leaders of the church. Prophetic leadership is considered as one of the church problems because people think that the leaders of this church are chosen and written in the prophecy, where in fact the leaders chose to be the leaders themselves because they want to be with God. People somehow have their minds or thought that if you are the leader or servant of the church, you are a perfect one. You do not sin or you're just like God. But actually, leaders aren't perfect. Leaders aren't like gods. Leaders are humans too. They commit sins and they are definitely not perfect. We shouldn't be proclaiming and focusing on what wrongs they will do because they aren't perfect. This mind concept can be removed if the people will understand that the church leaders doesn't base on the prophecy. It's their decision to be with God. It's their will to serve God. It is not in the prophecy that there will be a prophet who serves the church. Paganism. So what is paganism? As we all know, paganism is an act of a religion that has many gods or goddesses, considered as the earth holy and does not have central authority. Paganism is considered as one of the persecution of the church encountered in this modern days because in some churches who have statues of Jesus or any holy people interpret it like pagans. People somehow say to us, especially Catholics, that why do these people bow for the statues of Jesus, where in fact that is not Jesus and have never seen by their naked eyes before. Paganism is considered as one of the church problem because people simply misinterpret how the church give interpretation to the statues of the Holy Spirit or the Holy People. Paganism actually isn't about the statue or representation of the holy people, like Jesus Christ himself.
ISIS. ISIS is known for killing innocent people, not Christians but also Muslims. Churches are burned, crosses on top of the churches are being replaced by the ISIS flags. What's more surprising is there are also some who agrees with it, like Mufti Sheikh Abdul Aziz bin Abdullah in Saudi Arabia. What is it that they want to do? Is it to kill people or is it about their belief? No one knows. But there are speculations about this issue. While killing people, they are shouting some words and phrases. One of the most said words was the name of their god. What could this mean?
Separation and annulment. A revocation is normally and erroneously called a Catholic separation. The differences between divorce and annulment can be confusing to Catholics and non-Catholics alike, especially when your marriage is possible. Explanations about divorcement. The primary explanation behind getting a separation is that the holy observance of marriage was not legitimate. In other words, if one or both spouses didn't intend to enter permanent, faithful, and fruitful union, then the division renders the marriage invalid. Even though a couple gets married in Catholic Church by a minister or priest and has a goal of going into a substantial holy observance, different components can block the legitimacy at any rate, even accidentally and unexpectedly. Who is to blame? And the off chance that anybody isn't the issue.
Go.
And now, we are going to interview Sir Fritz. Good afternoon, sir. So, what can you say about the stand of the church on the LGBT issues?
Well, first we have to understand how the church sees LGBT people. They are person. The church always look at them as a person, no matter what their preference is. Preference love, girl to girl, man to man, but they are still person. What the church condemns is the acts. Okay, the human acts that this person do outside the accepted ways and means or accepted actions. No? If they do the homosexual acts, the church does not condemn the person doing that act, but condemns the act itself. Yun ang ayaw, yun ang kasalanan, yun ang hindi dapat. But these persons, no matter what preference they have, they are still accepted by the church, they go back to the church, and even they are already committed the sin or the homosexual and repent, go back to the church, they are always welcome by the church. Because the church always sees them as a person created by God, loved by God, and accepted by God.
Do you agree having a female priest?
Well, to be a female and a priest is a different thing. God, first, Jesus is a man, in the culture where he belongs when he was a man, it's a patriarchal. It's about man. The leaders are men. But the roles of the woman are not set aside because they have different important roles. Mary has a different role. Mary Magdalene has a different role. But they are not put to the place of the leaders of the church. It doesn't mean if you're not the leader, you're not that important. At the present, there may be no female priests, but they're religious. They're madre, no, maraming nuns. And they perform very and great roles in the church, helping the church to spread the good news and its mission.
What can you say about the people who thinks we praise idolatry, and other pagans.
Well, in terms of the images that we have, uh, it's like just giving respect to the image. And we do not worship the image, but we remember through that image the person it represents. That's very important. You should uh, dichotomize the image and the person being represented. And when we do some gestures towards the images, it's not worshiping, it's an act of respect.
What can you say about the relationship between the ISIS and Christians?
Well, if we go back even in the history in the scripture, ISIS or Islam and Christians are correlated to each other, way back. And even in this modern time, this contemporary time, the respect to each other, nahandun pa din, hindi siya nawawala. Na-highlight lang yung mga differences, especially with the fundamentalists that we have in the Islam part, which is like ISIS, those people na kung ano yung ginagawa para lang propagate yung gusto nilang religion. The same with the Christians, we have also fundamentalists. And even them sometimes hinders in spreading what Jesus wants, the good news and the mission that we have in the world. So, in short, they are not totally disagreeing with each other. There are lots of things that they do together. That's why they're also interreligious dialogues, dialogues with other non-Christians, no? Because even the churches wanted to find a common ground. How can each church help each other?
Do you agree that the leaders of the church came from the prophecies?
Well, I think I do not agree in this prophesied either, because even the church, respects the discernment of the individual. Maybe you are called by God, for example, to a religious life. Maybe you are called by God to be a married one. But still, the church and its leaders respect how the person will respond. To be a leader, you cannot just tell that, God told me that I will be your leader for 20 years. Right? You can say that just to support your claim to be a leader. But the church and even God will tell us, I respect how you respond, if you want to be a leader or not. But regardless of the prophecy, it's your response towards the calling. This is the most important.
Although early persecution is already gone, we can still see some in the modern